Emirates Team New Zealand and land speed pilot Glenn Ashby have sailed Horonuku, their wind-powered land speed world record craft, faster than any previous records. Pilot Glenn Ashby was clearly happy with the run, but also tempered with the knowledge that Horonuku can go much faster.
So 18 at 355.
$183, $184.
Got nothing, boys. We'll come back to the ranch for a little bit, eh? Copy that. That was a really nice run for control. It just looked like you were flying that pod beautifully then. Yeah, it's way better for me.
Unfortunately, haven't had enough breeze today. We had a few little tiny puffs come through that were over 20 knots, but they were super short-lived. Basically never had enough breeze to really crack into any decent numbers. We only saw over 180 kilometres an hour 2 or 3 times today. We do have a possible window tomorrow afternoon. Like coiled springs at the moment, we're ready to react at a moment's notice, but we'll have to wait and see.
No problem driving here. Okay, 115 exiting here. $193, $194, 5.
What you got? 19 knots.
205.
18 knots.
212.
20 knots.
$222.5. Slowing down here slowly.
This is your weekly World on Water for December 16, 2022. Highlights of the best in sailing and land yachting in the last 7 days. In for the opening day of the 2022 44 Cups Grand Finale today, it was not the turn of Nico Poon's Charisma, with her newly installed season leaders Golden Wheels, to come out on top, nor past 44 Cup season winners and world champions Chris Bake's Team Aqua, but Team Nika.
The opening day of the 44 Cup Oman started by helping the environment, with both 44 Cup crew and children from the local school taking part in a beach cleaning initiative.
Our job, in Oman Sail is to keep the whole beaches clean. Basically, we have to do our best to help the environment, to help the world, to save the world, And I really thank the whole teams that they're coming up today, which is great. It's good to see the 44 Cup coming back again here, and this makes us happy. I hope the teams are happy too. And what we can say is, welcome back again, guys.
On the racing side, the final event of the 2022 44 Cup began off Muscat's Al Mouj Marina in light shifty winds from the north. After 3 tough races under the hot sun, it was Team Nika that shone, putting in the opening day's top scoreline of 2-1-2.
I think we had very good communication on board today. There's a lot of gear changing, and as you said, it's quite tough out there. There's sort of a gradient wind fighting a thermal, so it's flicking around quite a bit. But yeah, I think our comms on board were very good, and we managed to sail fast, probably more often than the other boats. So yeah, that was probably the secret, I think.
After day 1, Team Nika lies 6 points ahead of the overall 44 Cup leader, Nico Poon's Charisma, winner of the last 3 events back-to-back and looking strong to be the 2022 44 Cup winner. Chris Bake's Team Aqua had its highs and lows, starting strongly by winning the first race, but then posting a 4-7. They remain 1 point astern of Charisma in third, but one ahead of the winner of today's final race, Aleph Racing. Stay tuned for more action-packed competition from Oman tomorrow.
It makes me excited to think we leave Cape Town and we jump into the Southern Ocean. The monstrous leg 3 from Cape Town to Itajaí doesn't seem to scare Team Malaysia and their skipper Boris Herman.
I think the next ocean race is going to be very, very different than all the last ones.
This is totally new world. Stop!
The boats are just pretty unbelievable. It's, you know, to have the technology of the IMOCAs. And now that we're a full crew, we can really push the whole way around.
This is a big unknown, a leap into the unknown, going out with these very complex and more fragile high-tech boats. They are certainly more challenging in that technical sense than the sturdy, strong, heavy-duty Volvo 65s that we know from the past editions. So it's a big leap into the unknown for all of us.
I did the race, the ocean race by the past, and I also competed in the IMOCA class, so now doing the ocean race on IMOCA, it's perfect for me. I hope it's perfect for me.
I think it's a little bit the best of both. You have the French solo and double-handed scene, and you have like the traditional Volvo ocean race world. And I think to combine these worlds, I'm a little flabbergasted sometimes.
I think to be able to sail around the world as a group of sailors and to kind of do a race course that's effectively the planet, you know, I don't think that there's anything like it. You know, ocean sailing is what I love to do, and it's just because the experiences that you get when you're on the water, to know that you're so far from any sort of civilization or land or other people. And so when I think of the race, I really think of the adventure and everything that's going to come with it, I think.
It makes me excited to think we leave Cape Town and we jump into the Southern Ocean. We jump off a cliff and then we will just go south and we will go into these energetic systems of low pressures and long swells and albatrosses.
I really would like to win the ocean race. That's a big goal. For me, it's the most important that we achieve goals as a team.
It's a great challenge, it's an adventure, but on top of that we have the adventure of sailing into this very particular type of boat with 5 people, or inside of this boat with 5 people, and facing the Southern Ocean in a very long lap of 13,000 miles. It brings together a lot of fascinating things.
It's a real war machine. From Class 40 in the Route du Rhum to the newly built IMOCA 60, Vendée Globe single-handed race around the world, 2 adventures, the same enthusiasm.
Quand on était gamin, quoi. On fait des cabanes. Il y a une personne qui est vivante là-dedans. Ouais, c'est mon dodo. Ah mon gars, ça va, la forme?
Bravo. Putain, c'est...
Tu vas bien?
Ouais, grave. Bravo, c'était ouf.
Ouais.
Là, des fois, tu sais, je me réveille le matin et genre, je fais ah non, il n'y a rien à regarder.
Ah merde, il n'y a plus de carto.
Ouais, ça avance de ouf.
Ouais, bah ouais, j'ai hâte de voir ça.
Tu vas aller voir encore?
Non, on va se faire ça. Bonjour. Waouh, la gueule du truc. Celle-là, elle déchire. Hein. Oh mon gars!
Ça va, champion? Bravo.
Ça va? Je t'ai pas reconnu, il y a un mec derrière moi.
Bravo.
Merci. Elle fait du bien, hein? Ça va Yann? La forme?
Bah, super et toi?
Ouais, nickel, nickel.
Félicitations du coup de vive voix.
Ouais, merci, merci.
Ça va?
Ouais, bah écoute, nickel, hein. Trop content, c'est surtout ça. C'était un avion de chasse, ce bordel.
Ah mec?
Ça va mon gars?
Ah, bravo.
Ouais.
Ouais, nickel et toi?
Bah bien, content d'être là, hein.
Bah ouais.
Voir le bébé, quoi. Trop beau.
Ils ont mis l'avant du cockpit là, c'est génial.
Ils ont mis l'avant là?
Ouais.
On va te voir ça. Oh là là là. Salut! C'est bien quand ça avance tout seul quand on n'est pas là. Ça paraît facile. Oh mon tuteur, ça va?
Ça va et toi?
Bon bah bravo hein.
Bah bravo à toi.
T'as bien préparé ce bateau là. Pas ouvert la caisse à outils les gars.
C'est vrai?
Ah non. C'est la salle de bal ça. C'est la salle des fêtes. Tout ce qu'on a vu fonctionne comme on l'a voulu. Et comme tout est au chausse-pied, il n'y a pas beaucoup de centimètres de gratos quoi, donc c'est hyper satisfaisant. Ça va les gars? La forme? Ouais, merci, merci. Bon et vous ça va?
Ouais, ça va.
Ouais, ah, c'est trop beau, hein. Putain. Il y a de la gueule, hein. Machine de guerre, le bordel. Hein. Le patron. Ça va, mec?
Vraiment.
Ouais, merci. Toi aussi, hein. C'est beau, hein? Ouais, cool. Ah, bon, bien, hâte de voir le cockpit dedans. Hein. Ah, là. Tu veux pas te dépêcher là un peu? Je me casse, moi. Et là, je repars 2 semaines, presque 3. Du coup, là, ça va reprendre un gros coup de boost. Parce que dans 3 semaines, le bateau il sera fermé. Je pense à peu près à la casquette, pas loin.
Day 2's first race saw hifglights, Isle of Racing, continuing her winning ways. In today's first race, they made gains out on the left of the first beat, then found a good lane out to the right, setting them up with a solid lead at the top mark ahead of Torbjorn Tornqvist's Artemis Racing.
The second day of the 44 Cup Oman provided near perfect conditions, the wind building to 15 knots and with temperatures into the high 20s. However, the swell combined with the waves made helming difficult in the shifty, puffy northerly breeze.
We got around 10-12 knots of breeze, more or less from the north, and that was nice. But the sea, there was a big ground swell, so it was bumpy, it was lumpy I should say, and the breeze was variable and wind speed was variable. So there were moments when the boats were going very well and there were moments when it was really hard to track.
LF Racing with guest helm Steve Howe had the best score of the day, moving them into second, although still 6 points behind overall leader Team Nika. Team Aqua's Chris Bake arrived in Muscat early this morning. He stepped straight on board and after acclimatising with 2 fourth places, ended the day with a bullet, leaving Team Aqua third overall. In fourth place, just 2 points off the podium at this halfway stage, is Artemis Racing. Like Team Nika, Artemis has been exceptionally consistent, with only 1 result off the podium so far this regatta.
We've had a mixture of results. We obviously started the event with a last, which is not a great way to start, but the only way to improve was to work up, and we managed to get some good clear starts and get our boat speed and get the tactics going, and you know, when it all happens at the same time, it's really nice, but it's close racing out there, that's for sure.
Further top conditions are forecast for tomorrow, the penultimate day of the 44 Cup Oman.
The America's Cup documentary team were down filming at the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli base today and out in the Bay of Angels, and as far as footage was concerned, they couldn't have wished for more action. With what sailing team coach Hamish Wilcox described as a long river of wind blowing in from Gibraltar, the Italian LEQ-12 headed out for a very blustery but short blast in the early afternoon. No place for cocktail dresses, but the team put on a mighty show nonetheless.
My full name's Hamish Wilcox, and my role in the sailing team is assisting in the coaching department.
Okay. So, yeah, you've been with Luna Rossa before, I reckon, and can you tell us about the difference between this campaign and the last one you worked?
Yeah, it's kind of similar in some ways. I started with them in the late 90s for their first cup, and everybody was really young and really enthusiastic, and it was really well driven and a super successful campaign in the 90s, and this one feels the same. We've got a lot of younger guys involved and a good mixture of wisdom and young enthusiastic people, and that combination is a very successful one.
Of course, you're an expert in reading forecasts, and could you tell us what's, on your point of view, what's the conditions here in the Gulf of Cagliari?
Yeah, this is a really interesting place to sail, especially in the conditions we've seen this week. You have this large mountainous area to the west with big ridges and valleys, and the breeze has got to find its way through that, and it's causing a lot of chaos on the water in that direction. And then you have the more northwest direction, the true Mistral, where it's quite channeled through the valley and provides really nice sailing conditions. So the bit I've seen so far this week has been really good. Challenging conditions makes it quite tough on the sailors. They learn a lot.
Yeah, we've seen you yesterday with Francesco Bruni going out on the rib and checking the forecast and the wind patches and so on. What's the difference between yesterday and today?
The main difference is the direction. We have a little bit further to the west and to the left from yesterday, and obviously a lot more wind. This breeze is blowing all the way from Gibraltar, so it's a long river of wind, and then it hits here in the bottom of Sardinia. It's got to make its way over these mountains to get into the bay, and we saw some pretty hard-hitting, downsloping gusts today, reaching into the mid, even probably later now high 20s, and whereas yesterday we had the breeze from the northwest, and it was quite gentle and channeled through the valley, and quite stable and good for easing yourself into it.
So, can you tell us what exactly does it mean to be a sailing coach or assistant sailing coach in America's Cup?
Yeah, I think when you're in that role, support role, you're just looking to plug any gaps that you can see, and I think every person works slightly differently. That they see things in a slightly different way. So it's a nice mix of personalities. I think at the moment. Young Jacob's doing an amazing job with the sort of overall management of the processes, the daily processes, and I know Philippe from a long time, and we've done a couple of cups already together, and I know he's going to be really strong in lots of areas, and I think together the three of us will be able to hopefully plug all the gaps.
A soft sea breeze made it a tricky day for both race officials and the 944 Cup teams alike. Ultimately, one race was held, the north-northwesterly wind never exceeding 6 to 7 knots, but enough for the nimble RC44 owner-driver one designs to make this speed both upwind and downwind.
The penultimate day of the 44 Cup Oman had a promising forecast, but ultimately this proved incorrect.
We woke up this morning with some rain, some unique sort of clouds for this part of the world, and so we sort of thought we were maybe doomed for the worst of the two options for the forecast.
In the end, the light fickle wind allowed the race committee to hold just one race instead of the three scheduled. While Artemis Racing were ahead for the first lap, the local heroes and 44 Cup newbies on Team Asiad Racing led into the second top mark rounding until a badly timed man overboard incident dropped them back into the pack. Their loss was Team Aqua's gain, and an early jibe on the final downwind secured Chris Bake's team its third bullet of the series. Artemis Racing and Aleph Racing were left to pick up second and third respectively.
The one race that we completed was really tricky, and a lot of decisions and a lot of luck that went into just the positioning and the outcome of all of the fleet. Really good outcome for us, and a really solid race in the end that we're able to take the lead in the second lap and hold it.
Disappointing eights for Team Nico caused their 6-point overall lead to evaporate. Going into the final day, they remained tied on points with the new overall leader Team Aqua. However, Aleph Racing is just a point behind in third, with 8 points separating the top 5.
We started the event is pretty good. We have the first day we started slowly with 2.6, and we closed strong with the first, and then we had a very good second day. And today, the third day, was very hard racing, very light wind and very shifty. And as usual, everything is on the plate for tomorrow, and it's very good to be in the position to be fighting for the results. So we'll see tomorrow.
3 races are scheduled for tomorrow, the final day of the 44 Cup Oman. There's still all to play for.
Making the difficult look easy is a rare skill in sport. It's what defines the great from the rest, and on Friday in Pensacola, the city of 5 flags, it was a deeply impressive offshore session outside of the bay that saw American Magic really put down its marker in this America's Cup cycle.
I'm John Kroom. I'm a cycler on the yacht.
Hey, how'd it go today? This was your first time offshore in the Gulf. How'd everything go?
Yeah, it was waistband fury. Super hard out there. I mean, we give them power and they take it. So, yeah.
Were there any breakages today that you know of?
Not that I know of. Everything was pretty much smooth sailing. Everything went up well, and yeah, so no breakages or anything like that. So.
Okay. How is this program different than other teams you've been a part of?
Oh, it's a lot different. It's a whole different world, but it's honestly like one big family, to be honest, and that's what's been really cool about this whole process, and getting into it all the way down from the cooks up to the helmsman. Like everybody's here to win the cup, so that's pretty exciting.
Okay. Can you walk us through a maneuver in a play-by-play attack or a jibe from your perspective, like what you do?
Yeah. I mean, they all kind of differ, but it's obviously a lot of power going into the maneuver, in the maneuver, and then coming out of the maneuver. But honestly, what we're finding is that it's taken a lot of power. So we're having to produce a lot of power throughout the entirety of the efforts, and yeah, it's just constant full gas.
Okay. How is the power output from the cyclists measured? Is it measured individually or as a group?
Yeah, it's measured individually, so it's measured through each athlete via power meter.
Okay. Do you find that there's one person consistently generating more power than another?
It kind of offsets. So like we kind of meet each other in the middle, but yeah, no, we're pretty much kind of given the most that we got throughout the maneuvers, and if somebody's got to pick up for another, somebody picks up for another, but usually it comes back tenfold. So.
Okay, good. What will the guys on your team be working on over the weekend?
Getting fitter, getting stronger, so we can keep doing maneuvers, keep doing race laps, and yeah, keep the consistency high and produce as much power as they need.
What's a typical day off training ride lengthwise?
I haven't felt really a day off training ride yet. Literally a day off for us, which is like a day off at base, is about 5 hours out on the road. And yeah, it's pretty cruisy actually.
Okay. All right, well thank you very much.
Awesome. Cheers guys.